People of the pod, I bid you welcome. This is Crafted Chaos, the show made by creative types for creative types, trying to keep mad in a world gone sane. Today in the makerspace are resident weirdos. She might tell you to go help yourself, but she's always ready to lend a hand. It's Misty Stinnett.
Hello. That was so good, Kyle. Thank you.
And while we've read his last adventure, we're happy that he's made us part of his next one. It's Ryan Dalton.
Yes, very droll, old man. Thank you.
And he might have been bothered by past fakes, but he's always the next real. It's Mr. Pete Wright.
I don't love any of this. This wit is, I don't love any of this. All this wit is too much. It is unbecoming.
This is Friday energy on a Wednesday.
Yes.
How dare you?
Exactly true. How dare you?
And I, of course, am... Well, see, that's where things get interesting. And it's going to roll us right into our very first topic. As the pop culture band AJR once wrote, "Where my haters, where my haters, I don't got 'em, I'm not famous, no. It don't matter what my name is, I don't got one, I'm not famous, no. And I don't hate it, no." You see, I was Googling around to find out what the credits of my fellow hosts were. Two of us are on IMDb, two of us are not, for instance. But in doing so, I discovered there's someone else out there with my name who has his own show with that name in the title. And let's just say our values do not align. So
What?
I've never been particularly a big fan of my name. And I learned that our last name was even changed at Ellis Island about 3 generations ago to sound less ethnic. But we can't find what it was before that because that's where the trail stops. So all my life, half of my name has been a lie, but now I'm 10 years into my career. Is it too late to change the name? So I put it to the panel. What's in a name?
Okay, so wait a minute. I am unclear on my objective. Are we trying to make you more Viking?
That would be great. I would love that.
I think we're assuming that it's Viking. Maybe
The
it's
Viking.
maybe it's like Japanese or something. What is the?
It was Germanic. We understand because like my family is Norwegian, German, and Swiss. It turns out my sister found out that a line going that way. So
Okay.
yeah, like once again, the people who should not be living in Arizona under this much sun. They think it was something along the lines of like Eastern Farm, so something like Österreich, like. That's instead of Olsen. So they're like in the tradition of like, if I was going to meet Scarlett Johansson, I would say, "Son of Johan, I am son of Oli," because that's where those names come from. Johan, son of Johan, Olsen. So we assume that there was an Oli back around somewhere in the Jack of the Generations. There was never an Oli. So I am the son of Oli, but there was never an Oli that I am the son of the son of the son of the son of.
A sailor.
Yeah. I think it was a
is
preacher
that the
man,
game?
but yeah.
I have an answer too. It starts with
Is it
a
a
P.
fill in
Wait,
the blank?
Yeah,
We
I
did
think
Mad
someone,
Libs a couple episodes back. Like this is
someone
not that.
fled the homeland and
Yes.
changed their name after.
I believe
I think-
by the timeline it was not cool to be German and coming into America.
Hmm.
Yeah, those were the days. as
Yeah,
they say.
and there's been a couple of them,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
now
There's
we're
one
all good.
upcoming. Yeah.
I have no, at this point, I have no emotional attachment to my name, but also I have a name and I have a play published under that name. And like, that is where, when I introduce all these podcasts and going back to stuff, that is what I say. But right now, like if you Google my name, and I encourage you to not,
Well,
you will
I'm
not
gonna do
find
that
what
right
you,
now.
but in my name and podcast, you will not find me.
Are you seriously considering changing your name?
I've been thinking about this for years. I actually I'm upset that like they did not do it sooner, and now I'm wondering like, is it too late?
Are you thinking pen name or legally changing your name?
Oh well, both would be fine. Like I mean, Michael Keaton did changed his name, and then that's now his legal name, and same with Elton John. So I mean, it does work, but I'm fine with that too. The family, like my immediate family, they're like they want to vote in it, so maybe we'll just focus on pen name for now.
What about your parents?
I mean, how long they got, really, honestly, Pete. I mean, come on.
They had their time with the name, Pete.
Yeah. At this point, there's also our line is coming to an end. So like there are very few of the line of Olsen. There are very few left.
Okay.
It's
So
a
this
Denethor
is-
situation.
I get it. A Denethor situation.
So yeah, exactly. So there's last of his name that'll be me, and I have 2 girls, so chances are that they will not carry on the family name.
Yeah, great segue because I'm seeing the gasps of like, but you have work published under that name and legally change your name. To which I say, isn't that the expectation of every woman
Every
who gets
woman, yeah.
married?
Honestly, I'm really upset at myself that I was very a stickler for that. Denise, I'm like, no, you should take my name. It turns out that was a lie, and her name was awesome, and my name sucks, and now we're stuck with my crappy name.
Well, it's
Well,
also it's also just about the expectation of like, yeah, of course, just like give up your identity.
Sure.
Like everything you've been known as. And I
Right.
remember
Yeah.
with my long-term partner, I sat down and I was like, I'm not gonna take your name, even though the combo of our names would be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, there's only women in the Stinnett line. Everyone's had girls for like 3
Ah.
generations.
Wow.
And I was like, so Stinnett dies out. It
Yeah.
dies out if I
Yeah.
go. So anyway, I just have to chuckle at the gasps.
No,
when
but
I'm on the
the
call.
gasp, I want to make sure that you don't misinterpret my gasp. My gasp comes from, oh my God, you have the energy for that? Because I remember what it was like, because my wife took my name too. And
Mhm.
I remember the conversation about like, do we want to like buckle to traditionalism? And
Right.
it became not a question as much about her as it was about the kids and not wanting to kick the can down the street a long way and not have to figure that out. Like they can figure out what they want to do with their name. And so like it really is just at this point we just dealt with this because we have a friend of the show, Matthew Fox, my current host with me on the Marvel Movie Minute. Matthew Fox is they're trying to figure out how to handle their name for their impending child. I mean, impending is not
by the time
word.
this, say by the
Kind of
time
like
this
how you
drops,
describe
it
a
might have
hurricane.
it might have
Imminent.
ended.
What is there is a word that was chaos. I don't know what
That
the
was
word is.
chaos.
We're gonna stick with impending because it's charming. Their impending child, and so they are just making up a name that they will both take
Nice.
in
I like that.
their marriage, which is awesome.
Yes.
And so
Agreed.
the gasp is kind of one of excitement. Like maybe it's like getting a tattoo. Maybe we should all change our names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know a married couple who both hyphenated, right?
Yes.
So
Oh,
they
yeah.
both took. Then of course you have to decide like whose last name comes first, right? In the hyphen.
We go when they have 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls. They hyphenated. One was the husband's first name. The boys got that. It was husband's last name, wife's last name, and they swapped for the girls. So the brothers and sisters have different last names.
That is so complicated.
Yeah.
What if we all just change our last name to Stinnett? I mean, that seems to be.
Oh,
we need
you
to strengthen that
wouldn't.
line.
You would
I
you
absolutely would.
really?
It's a much better name than the lie that is Olsen.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I think Olsen is a great last name.
I do too.
If it was really a real last name, then sure. But it's a
Yeah.
Band-Aid covering racism. I guess I don't know.
What I want to
Countryism?
know is just, have you thought coming into this show
Yes.
what your family's names would sound like if they picked Dalton? Because I
have
honestly
not.
think of all of us, Dalton has the coolest last name.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Pete Dalton, Kyle Dalton,
Right?
The
Misty
Daltons.
Dalton.
Misty Dalton.
Craft and chaos with the Daltons.
Mhm.
We'll be like the new Partridge Family.
Right. Something tells me I'm into something good.
Mhm.
We can buy a
Wow.
bus. We can tour around.
Took me a hot second to get that, but I got it. I was there.
But it
I
is
have
an
seen-
identity crisis, isn't it?
It
You're
is a
like,
little bit.
what
It
does
is a
this
bit,
mean?
yeah.
And who am I? And who do I want to be?
Right.
I've
And
seen some
do I draw the
actors-
line and then like from here on out, and then it's just like it was what it was and it is what it is,
Yeah.
or
Well, I think that's what you have to do, right?
Well, speaking from the author side, it is relatively common for authors to use multiple names. I myself am using more than one name. Often they'll do it to separate genres. If there's a big enough separation in the genres, separate brands.
Richard Bachman and Stephen King.
Robert
So
Galbraith.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I think it's
well. Now, see, now you swung one way. Now I'm swinging the other way. Like
deep cut.
So from the author perspective, it's not crazy at all to have a different name or even multiple names simultaneously. So I don't know how like the playwright world, how it differs or anything. I know that I've heard of some like Hollywood actresses will, like if they get married, will change their name legally. So they have like the same team name, but will keep the name everyone knows as their stage name. So they sort of have one for the public and the other for private. So I think if you want dual identities, that could be fun. Pull a Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, and he's got his own multiple identities too. So,
and as your unofficial coach, I would ask if there is a reframe to be had here. If rather than that's what my name was, that's what it meant, it's marred. How can you reclaim Olsen and live into it with the most dignity and somehow turn it on its head? Is there anything there?
Are you saying be the most Scandinavian he could possibly be? Just double down on the Scandi. Eat nothing but lutefisk for every meal.
Yeah. But yeah, like reclaiming, because history is long. And I know it's so hard because if you can't trace back what it was before Ellis Island, like how do you know what it was, where it came from, etc.
If I found out what it was, I might be quick to switch to that, whatever that was, to be like, oh, okay, now I'm like reclaiming family heritage.
Well, but that is your family heritage. Your family heritage is people got really brave. They wanted to get out of Dodge and they wanted to start fresh. They didn't want the legacy of that last name. And who knows if it was out of protection? Or who knows if it was like, we don't like what our family did. We're starting over. We're reclaiming. So I would just question the assumptions or the stories that are being formed around what may have happened. What if it was the most generous, loving thing?
Yeah. I'm taking it in. I'm considering it. I'm thinking about it.
Remember Misty when Misty was on this show?
Yeah, and took it in an actual heartfelt direction instead of something quippy.
I have passed away. I try to drop some bombs, and then Kyle goes, "Yeah."
No, I was taking it. I was taking it in. I wasn't trying to like haha, and then you make a joke and move on.
Guys, I feel like we can almost hear Misty. You remember?
remember when she was on the show? She was so great. Wish we could bring that energy back. The show was really special. The show was never really the same.
It's a great last episode with you all.
What should really happen is, Pete, you should say the exact same thing Misty just said. We should all say, what a brilliant idea that was. Sorry, Misty.
If I had $20 for every time that happened to me in a writer's room, for real, I'd be a wealthy woman. A wealthy woman.
There was a convention happened in Las Vegas recently, and I was sort of looking through the list just because it shows me how out of touch I am, because I'm like looking at them like, I don't know who any of these people are. And yet they're like featured guests at this convention. And it was more of like a social media thing. So I don't follow that side of it. But it was a lot of people like there. And then there was a whole section of people who go by their handles. And I was like, no. I don't like that at all. Like, it's just like, you're going like, there's your headline, your Tom Smiths and your Jane Watsons or whatever. And then all of a sudden there's like Sniper Killer XX and, Butt Sniffer 69. And it's like, wow, that's like on your merch. Like, that's who you are. That's what, and I was like, oh, I don't want that. Like, I don't, but the ones I did like are the ones who are like first name, title, and then last name. Like Randy Macho Man Savage, like as a classic reference, but like these ones would be like, it'd be like Jim, whatever, Horse Thief, O'Brien or whatever.
Don't invite Jim to the
there's an underscore
party
between O and Brian. But yeah, so like I was like, oh, maybe I like that better, like to have a thing that's in the middle rather than just being known by whatever the online handle is.
Okay, here's what you should do. There's a trend on TikTok that says your adult entertainment name is your grandmother's first name and the last dessert you ate. So that's your new name.
Oh.
So let's go. Let's start with Kyle.
I feel like I'm being catfished. Like you're trying to like get information out of me to somehow set up like a bank account.
It's in case it inspires something for your new life. Okay, good ideas can come from anywhere.
I suppose, except I don't want to be at a convention under a banner that says Edith Ice Cream. So
yeah. Edith ice cream. Okay, Pete, what's yours?
Wanda Milkshake.
Now, see, that's kind of badass.
Wanda. Was she Wanda, right?
No, Peters. This is my grandmother on my mother's side was Wanda.
But if you're gonna Wanda, you should Wanda right.
I should Wanda right. You're absolutely right.
Puns.
No, stop. I can't say it.
Dalton, what's yours?
Irene Cookie.
Are you sure these are like our professional dancer names? Because that seems like what it would be. Now coming to the stage.
Irene Cookie. I got to use that for something. No, that's going to go in my roster of character names to use eventually.
100%. Misty?
Margaret Dark Chocolate.
Oh, come on.
Okay.
Let's go.
100% a stage name.
God, that would look so good on a romantasy book.
Totally.
It could also be, I mean, like it could be Maggie Gummy Bear, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could
No,
be-
you're right there. So you like DARQUE dash.
Yeah.
Or if you just make dark chocolate
Chocolate.
one word. Yeah, it just make it one word with an odd spelling, and people are like, "Dark a chocolat." You know,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Just dark,
So it's
just dark
just
chocolate.
Margaret
If dark
Chocolat.
chocolate-
Yeah.
If dark chocolate counts, I can go with candy as a dessert too, in which case I could also be Brooksie Skittles. What do we think about that?
Nice.
Brooksie Skittles is such a great pulp novelist name.
Yeah.
It's
Like
the
the
Brooksie
latest
for me.
two-fisted tale.
Yeah, it actually sounds like an informant in a noir
Yeah.
mystery or
You
something.
know who you should talk
Absolutely
to.
does.
You know who you
Yeah.
got to go see, boss. You got to go see Brooksie Skittles. Brooksie Skittles knows everything that's going on in the streets. Yeah, I'm Brooksie Skittles. What you want to know?
I'm Brooksie Skittles. gotta be a little higher.
Wow. Look, the character's developing right in front of us.
I know. We're looking
No,
at
no,
what
no.
we're doing.
You want my sister for that. Snickers McGee. You got to go talk to Snickers McGee. She handles the east side.
The entire universe is developing right here. Look what I started.
Did
There
we
we go.
help you change your name, Kyle?
Yeah, we did not reach any kind of verdict.
No, I say it was. I didn't actually need. I have an idea of what the name is. I don't want to say it because I don't. But I will not move fast enough. So by the time this airs,
Oh,
I
because
don't
I'm
want anyone to
absolutely
claim it.
registering that domain.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want you to
Is it
take
Snickers
the
McGee?
.org from me. It is not.
.org.
Well, sure. I mean, I would be. I mean, I am a charity case, so
A
I mean, I would be
nonprofit.
.org.
organi- I am
it
a
should be
nonprofit.
.fun. It should just be .fun.
.fun. Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
It should be .fun.
What is it? Brooksy Skittles .fun.
Brooksy
There we
Skittles
go.
.fun.
Yeah.
We should have logged on. I got all sorts of
I think
crafts.
we've just found our mascot.
Brooksie
show.
Skittles.
All right,
I need
artists,
to get
you're out there
AI
too.
to
You're listening.
generate a happy older
No,
lady.
no. We're going to put this out to the Craft and Chaos Station
Oh.
or whatever they decide to call themselves.
Oh,
Yeah.
somebody needs
We
to
have
draw
artists that
that.
listen to us. We
Can
want somebody to draw it.
Yeah, draw
Yeah.
Brooksy Skittles.
Draw Brooksie Skittles.
Brooksy
The
Skittles.
winner will receive probably just a pat on the back.
No,
Yeah, that's all we have right now, but we have a lot of
print.
them.
We'll print out a print of their image, and we'll all sign it and send it back to them. Pete will cover
Nice.
that cost. He's
We're
happy.
gonna. Yeah, okay. And we'll make stickers. Brooksy Skittles.
Oh yeah,
stickers.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I love
Yeah.
it.
So
All right.
well,
That's good
but
merch.
for now, I am Kyle Olson. Will that continue? We shall see. But
All right.
let's go into our first ad, if you would be so kind, Pete.
Daddy, I don't feel so well. Yes, that's right, it's me again. The creepy little British girl from all those scary movies. You might remember me saying things like, "Mummy, there's something in the basement." I've come with a dire warning. There's a podcast out there that's even more terrifying than me. It's called Sitting in the Dark. The hosts discuss horror movies, giving away the secrets of my dark brethren. They rotate hosting duties, which means the host that's secretly possessed is rarely in charge. You know which one. And it only comes out once a month, which makes it easier for you to keep up, but much harder for the dark forces that lurk beyond our world to gain a foothold into your cracked psyche. Let evil win and avoid listening to Sitting in the Dark. You have been warned.
Let
Wow, you
evil
gave her-
win.
You gave her more work. Like I was like after Misty hired her first, I guess you really like that.
That was
thinking-
incredible. Yes.
Her
It's
day rate's
creepy.
she's pretty affordable.
That's
so.
true.
She
yeah.
is.
Night
Yeah, she
rates
gets
though,
around.
you don't want to know.
I never heard the term cracked psyche, but it just feels right.
Yeah. You know who has a cracked psyche?
Wanda
Brooksie Skittles.
Milkshake.
Brooksie Skittles, yeah.
Oh, we're so close. We're so close.
Someone say my name.
So for our sort of our big first topic here, I had challenged the rest of the group to come up with what their Mount Rushmore of inspiration people are. So I know Mount Rushmore itself is controversial, but the idea that who are the 4 human beings that you have read, listened to, watched, anything that have provided you inspiration in the past and continue to do so. Who are the people that you think are the ones who are sort of looking over your shoulder as you're continuing on with your work? So I think that probably the best way to do it is to have just go like past the mic essentially, and so each of us sort of go through our 4.
All 4 at once?
All 4 at once, yeah, rather than like sort of round robbing it, because then I think people will be able to sort of follow along a little bit better.
Okay.
As opposed to like, which is the one who was really excited about Lou Ferrigno? I don't remember.
Oh man, you took
How'd you know? He's not mine.
Oh man, 3 for 3. Great.
Now,
So,
you said they're looking over our shoulder. Does that mean they are all deceased? Was that
No.
part of the goal?
No. It was not part of the
Okay.
goal.
All
It's
right.
not part of the goal.
Yeah, because I think only one of them knows who I am and is also dead.
Yeah, and this is also meant to be a definitive list. It was just sort of, I'm interested to hear, like, sort of take a snapshot of where you're at right now, as opposed to, like, because obviously we could probably list 40 or 50 people, but just these are the ones sort of like right now who you think would be like you look up to and go, yeah, that's
Perfect. Love it.
So why don't we start with Ryan Dalton?
So I didn't choose people.
Interesting.
I chose things. I chose pieces of media that either inspire me or taught me a lesson about writing that I still use today.
Okay.
Ooh, I like
That's
that.
cool.
So I tried to spread it out. I chose a TV show, a movie, a book, and a comic.
Nice.
So the TV show, I chose Scrubs. Because
you can't do it all on your own. You're no Superman.
I'm no Superman. Yeah. The thing that I love most about that show is I have ended up using a lot in my own writing is I love the power of a bittersweet ending.
Mm-hmm.
I like it when the good guy wins, but there is a heavy cost, and there are things to celebrate, but also things to mourn. And that tends to be, not always, but that tends to be just how I kind of naturally gravitate to finishing stories. And I think Scrubs was just masterful at just the silly, wacky comedy that would suddenly flip into something either very poignant or very tragic. And they did it in a way that was like both of them not only worked well together, but counterbalanced each other beautifully. And so, yeah, that's one. The movie. Thanks. Yeah, the movie. Mission Impossible 3 of all things.
Whoa!
And it. I still remember when this happened. It was fairly early in writing things and still learning a lot of things. And watching Mission Impossible 3, a particular scene, I actually stopped and rewound it 2 or 3 times after it occurred to me. It taught me what I call the triple threat, which is to me one of the best keys to truly suspenseful and engaging action scenes. And that is to have not 1, not 2, but 3 different but simultaneously concurring challenges, threats, or problems that you're dealing with, so that at any point when 2 of them are falling, 1 of them is rising. So you've always got the next thing that you're dealing with while the other 2, maybe you get a slight break. If you only have 2, it can be just kind of this up and down wavy thing where they come and go, and it becomes a repetitive and boring rhythm. But if you have 3, it is harder to predict. There is always something to deal with while the other 2 are maybe waning a little bit. And it's just, if you balance it right, it just makes for really cool high octane action scenes. And so I emulate that in a lot of my action scenes. Number 3, the book, The Gone Away World, which is my number 2 all-time favorite book by Nick Harkaway. The best lesson from that one is to never be afraid to write things that are hard to categorize. Because when you're creating things, you're going to come upon people that are kind of between you and getting your stuff out to people. And a lot of times those people have no imagination. And if they can't immediately think, how would I market this? Then they don't want to do it. But that shouldn't ever be a thing that stops you from writing exactly as you want to write, no matter how. Write the thing you want to write, and do not worry about what category it's supposed to slot into until it's over. That's the job for marketing, not for creativity. And the Gone Away World to me is one of the best illustrations of that, because it is a book that defies all categorization. I still can't exactly tell you what genre it is, but I love it. It just doesn't matter when you're reading it. So the fourth is a comic. So it's a particular run of Spider-Man comics. This is different because it's a lesson of what not to do.
Oh.
And so the writer of this particular run will remain nameless as a rule.
Was it Kyle Olsen?
Sorry, Kyle. It was.
I tried so hard.
It was Kyle Olsen's son from the line of Olsen, of sons of Olsen.
Son of Son.
So yeah, I don't criticize living writers' work in public as a general rule. I'm happy to do it in private, but
it didn't connect with you. We'll say that.
Yeah. So the thing I learned in reading this run, and there was other stuff to like. It's not like it was like a terrible run at all. It was fun, but as I was reading, I remember the page where I saw this, and it hit me. Your story can be as fantastical as you want it to be, and readers are going to come along with you if the characters in that story feel like real people. But if you do things that break the reality of those characters being real people, you cannot expect readers to stay immersed and go along with you. Case in point, Spider-Man going through a monologue that covers half the page as if he doesn't have to breathe, even while he's fighting and taking superpowered punches. Literally, I remember the page, it was this huge splash page, and literally the right third of the page was all dialogue bubbles, just boom, 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 one after the other. And the other was him in this knockdown, drag out life or death fight. And I remember sitting there reading and thinking, when is he saying all of this? He's getting pummeled. And it just completely broke it for me. And yeah, I was reading a Spider-Man comic book, and it's made me stop and say, that is unrealistic. And I didn't actually continue the series after that. Even though there were other things to like about it, it's just like, once the glass broke and you realize that, this isn't written like a real person, I just lost all interest. So those were my four.
I love
very nice.
I don't love that you totally changed the tone, because now I have to follow it with boring rules. But that's hard.
I remember seeing. I had a similar, not specifically for Spider-Man, but there was another. I think it was a Cyberforce comic where their Wolverine type character, Ripclaw, he's like leaping through the air with his claws out to attack somebody, and had 3 word bubbles above him, and I was like, how long is this jump? Because that's like,
well, he was what you forget, Kyle, is he was also an auctioneer, and so he just everything was very fast.
Yeah. I get to go, what did you just claw?
Yeah.
All right. Well, then, since you don't want to follow Pete, why don't you follow that?
Yeah, because Pete, it's brutal to follow you most episodes. I drop the mic and leave the rest of us with nothing.
This is a guessing game, so you get to guess who mine are. They're all real people. They're all actual Rushmore people, and you get to decide who they are.
Lincoln.
And my first one.
James K. Polk.
I'm already cheating. At least I have a cheat. I actually feel better about my cheat, given Dalton just totally blew everything out of the water with it. So here we go.
That's what you get for having me go first.
Classic Dalton.
Hot seat.
One of them writes novels that make you cry into your hoodie about the nature of time and love. The other turns facts into caffeine-fueled joyrides through your YouTube algorithm. Together, they're like if Mr. Rogers and Carl Sagan had a podcast baby and then raised it on Tumblr and existential dread. They built schools, launched charities, conquered TikTok, and somehow have the energy to say things like, don't forget to be awesome, without a shred of irony. And honestly, they are what I wish more men in the world looked like. Vulnerable, authentic, kind. They've helped rewire the circuitry of masculinity into something that doesn't require stoicism or snark to feel strong. Also, one of them once published a video essay about a pothole and made me feel things about infrastructure. That is a superpower. Guesses?
John
Oh,
Green?
Yeah, and Hank
Bert
Green.
and Ernie.
Bert and Ernie is it.
Mhm.
Misty, it is John and Hank Green. I absolutely, those guys are real role models for being a father, for being a man, for being a creator. They are just loving gifts to the universe every time I check out their work. And so, John and Hank Green, that's number one. Okay,
Mhm.
let's see what comes out next. They are the guys who represent my aspirations as a creator. The next one, I'll just tell you, represents my earliest aspiration for wanting to write. So that's a hint. This man looked at the vast cosmic absurdity of existence and thought, you know what this needs? Towels and bureaucracy.
Marty there.
He didn't just write science fiction. He wrote existential comedy disguised as intergalactic nonsense. He gave us suicidal robots, poetry that could cause internal bleeding, and a travel guide that became scripture for anxious weirdos everywhere. He was basically Carl Jung with a punchline, or Monty Python in space, or maybe just the world's most charming chaos gremlin. He was
Douglas Adams.
Douglas Adams. Absolutely. The man who made the universe blink first. I remember reading Douglas Adams. I actually first found Douglas Adams by way of the audio version of Hitchhikers, and then went back and read everything and was so enamored. He is still just absolutely on my Mount Rushmore for guys I wish I could write this way without sounding dumb. Next.
He has, before we move on, he has one of my favorite written pieces, the favorite sentences in all of fiction.
What is that?
I bet I know what it is. Yeah.
The ship hung in the air exactly the way that bricks don't.
Bricks don't. Yes.
That takes a special mind to come up with something like
if I had
that.
to pick one line to tattoo on my body, it would be that.
Truly, that level of just sort of ricochet absurdity and it just feels so natural when he does it. It's effortless. All right. Here I have a person who played, it captures me as a musician. Do you guys even know? I'm kind of a musician. I hobble around on the piano and I've been known to sing.
You rock.
So here's a person who played more instruments than we have collectively fingers among us. He wore heels taller than your dreams and once wrote a hit song for someone else and just didn't tell anyone for 15 years. He performed like he was summoning lightning in the rain. He oozed gender fluid swagger before society could even spell it. He changed his name to a literal symbol and somehow earned it. He didn't walk into rooms. He just sort of materialized there. He is what happens when raw talent and divine chaos make a deal at a crossroad and burn the contract. He was... Anybody?
His name is Prince.
The
one and only.
I'm very much in my Prince cycle
Your Prince
right
era,
now.
yeah.
I love Prince very, very much.
It's the most charming. It's so good.
So he's really, I walked those halls just a few weeks ago and I still have the chills. Okay. Here's the last one. This man once convinced the entire planet that glass rectangles were sexy. He believed design was sacred, that fonts could spark a revolution, and that being a little difficult was just the cost of dragging humanity into the future by brushed aluminum lapels. 23 years ago, I appeared in one of their commercials, a Switch ad. Yes, those Switch ads, because someone in Cupertino looked at a stack of weirdos and said, that one, the tired one with some opinions. That was him. He picked me, this guy, and like a fool, I traded my soul for a lifetime of their gear and the permanent inability to use Windows without screaming. He was
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. Yeah, Steve Jobs. This is one of those, when Steve Jobs died, I was I was affected more than I ever expected to be affected. There is something very strange about tying a personal fandom to an industrialist, but that's what happened. I'm in some regard, I learned a lot from watching Steve Jobs and the way he worked, and some of that I think is very, very strange. Yet we cannot account for our sort of the emotional little red wagons that we drag behind us. And I feel very lucky to have come within shoulder length of Steve Jobs and love my part of that saga many years ago. So that's my Mount Rushmore. I got Steve Jobs, I got the Greens, got Doug Adams, and Prince.
Nice.
Have you read Autobiography of a Yogi?
No.
I heard that Steve Jobs, his request at his funeral was that everyone get a copy of Autobiography of a Yogi. This is one of the most important books that, I believe I'm accurate in that fact.
Making a note.
We should double check it. Yeah.
No, I just don't. No, we're supposed to just take everything on face value now, I think. It's okay.
You can say anything on the internet. And once you say it, it's facts.
It's fact because it's recorded. Trademark.
Yeah. His favorite cookbook was also Paula Deen's Southern Cooking.
Are we still doing the bit? Because I'll request that from the library too.
Wow, it's a good 1-2 punch of reading ahead of you. All right, so let's since she has a lot to say about books, let's see if there's any authors on Misty's list.
Well, there are some. There is one.
I thought there might be.
And I will say this was such an intimidating exercise because as you so aptly pointed out, Kyle, there's like 70 people that I could put on this. And it was really, I had to give myself permission to just be like, who's kind of floating to the top right now, like in this moment, because it's so much pressure to be like, who has shaped me?
Right. I think it's something we can circle back to too. So I don't want everybody to be on the hook for the rest of their lives about these four.
And I'm the kind of person, I suffer from that disease of like, I get home from the party and then I remember the cool thing I was going to say.
Yeah.
I get home, I brush my teeth and then I go, oh, it was actually that. I should have said that. So I suspected that there would be a lot of men on everyone's Rushmore. So I went ahead and filtered mine through the 4 women that I would like on my Mount Rushmore. Because as you know, I joke as the token lady of this podcast. I have to support this. Okay. So number 1 is Frances Marion. Have any of you heard of Frances Marion?
Mm-hmm. She's a woman, right?
That's Jim Marion's wife, right? I know Jim Marion.
Wow.
Do you regret your choices yet? We're just getting started.
I would like to ascend right now, just off of planet Earth. Just beam me up. So Frances Marion was born in 1888. And she was an American screenwriter, director, journalist, and author, often cited as one of the most renowned female screenwriters of the 20th century. During the course of her career, and keep in mind, this was all male-dominated, she wrote 325 scripts, and she was the first writer to win 2 Academy Awards.
Wow.
Nice.
And she's like and she transitioned from like silent films into the talkies and just, I mean, she's an absolute pioneer. And this was when women were not employed in mainstream arts, really. And she was absolutely dominating. Yeah. And I believe her biography is called Without Lying Down, which is badass.
That is badass. That's a power title.
Okay. Number 2 on my Lady Mount Rushmore. My Mount Rushmore is Lucille Ball. So,
very
nice.
Nice.
And she is such an enormous hero of mine. And I don't know if you guys really know her history, but she was basically like a struggling like D-list actress. And then she invented multi-camera comedy. So this never existed before Lucille Ball, and she ultimately became so wildly successful. And so she was such a pioneer. She ended up buying what was RKO Studios at the time. It's Culver Studios now in Culver City. She ended up buying it and owning the studio that I think would barely hire her. when she was younger. So she's an absolute pioneer. I think she also didn't have a kid until she was like 39, which, you know, back in the 50s and 60s was quite a big deal. So
I want to throw in one token.
I'm glad you did, because I was going to if you didn't.
I was also good. We all have Lucille Ball
We all
facts.
have Lucille Ball stories.
I'll go last. Go
I
ahead,
think we
guys.
all have. I hope they're all different because there are a lot. One of the things that I love so much about the legacy of Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz is the way they divorced was a role model in post-marriage relationships, and hearing their kids talk about them, that their marriage together was trouble and discordant, but they remained such good friends and such good co-parents that it seems like they just loved each other very, very much and couldn't be married. And I thought that was always a really neat story. Next.
Kyle, go ahead.
The only reason we have Star Trek is because of Lucille Ball, because she believed in the show and produced it and kept it going when the network wanted to shut it down.
Is that true?
That is absolutely true. Desilu Studios. She fought for that show.
It would have died without her.
Yeah.
What a queen.
Yeah.
Secret nerd.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't think it's. I think that Dalton needs to have a second one because you can't take one that was already passed. You have a second Lucille Ball story.
She can fit an enormous amount of chocolates in her mouth.
Perfect.
And that
nailed it.
Is something to admire.
Yeah. She did that. She only knew she could do that because it was a hobby off camera. Not many people know that. She just sat at home and just jammed chocolate in her
Little
mouth.
known fact.
Little known fact. Yeah.
Man, keeping kids entertained is tough.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do.
I did have the pleasure of going to a taping of a Will and Grace episode where they recreated the apartment from I Love Lucy and that chocolate scene. And because my friend was the writer's assistant on Will and Grace at the time, I got to go take pictures on set. So I have a picture on her. It's not the couch, you know what I mean? But they did an amazing job recreating it.
Couch adjacent. That's really cool.
Couch adjacent.
Yeah.
Okay, for my last two, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who wrote Fleabag. But she's also the executive producer of Killing Eve. And what I think is so incredible about her is she just put on this incredible one-woman fringe show called Fleabag, and it was all her original writing. And then it got turned into the beloved show that many of us know and love. But she also just thought, I think that's it. I'm not going to try and milk my fame and do 6 seasons of Fleabag, right? There's 2, and I think I'm done. And she just knew how to call it. And I think that's so brave as basically a brand new artist, right? I just think it's so ballsy. And then Killing Eve is a completely different genre. It's suspenseful, it's action, it's like foreign espionage. And then she's got this kind of straight to camera, off-kilter comedy. And what I love about Fleabag is I never knew where it would go. It was so provocative. The second season, especially, I was like, I cannot stop watching this. And so that's modern day. And then Brené Brown, because Brené Brown has really changed the conversation. So she's a nonfiction author, if you're unfamiliar, and she's a shame researcher who became famous when she did a TED Talk about shame. And she really, by being brave and earnest, has just like inspired me that it is okay to live in all of my imperfections and to talk about things no one's talking about. And that can actually change the entire cultural conversation. And I've read most of her books and I think she's brilliant. And I also got to see her interview Dave Grohl at the Austin City Limits Festival, the Austin Music Festival. And that was a fun pairing I never thought I'd see. But I do have 2 honorable mentions if I were including men on this list.
Okay. I thought Dave Grohl was
there's no reason you should.
Yeah, Dave Grohl's there. No, Dave Grohl, are we a little mad at him? We're a little upset. We're confused.
Are we?
Dave Grohl.
Are we? Okay.
He had a child out of wedlock, but we all thought he loved his wife, and it's all confusing. And it's I don't know.
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll,
give good
baby.
interview though.
He does. I have been consistently and deeply touched by the poetry of David Whyte and of Young Pueblo. And Young Pueblo in particular, I keep several of his books on my nightstand and I just open them up and just read a few before bed. And it's like the most grounding, comforting thing. And I feel like he is just channeling modern truth onto the page over and over. And I just think it's incredible.
Awesome.
Very
That's
nice.
a good set, Misty.
I will tell you
Thank
that mine are not all. It's mostly dudes, but not all dudes on mine. So as a shift to ours, my first name of mine is someone whose writing I liked so much that I made. He's a television writer. I made stuff, and I would just play the episodes, just the audio in the background while I was working on other things. And that is Aaron Sorkin. I would take episodes of West Wing and just listen to them like they were music, because he even talks about how much he writes musically and stuff too. And it has all of the stuff, even the stuff that it didn't always land, always has a really high bar that it clears. And for me, he came up at a time when the prevailing wisdom in Hollywood for television writers is be invisible. Like they're here to see, the Jack Tripper. They're not here to hear the voice of whoever is writing. Like they're coming for the characters, not coming for the writer. And he was like, I don't think that's true. And so you can, in any of his stuff, you can hear his voice very clearly, but it still is empowering to actors. It gives them a lot of stuff to chew on and to work with too. And so the actors who have worked with him love working on the stuff because of the challenge of doing it, in the same way that coming from the theater, like David Mamet, has a very distinct style stuff too. He was one of the first people I noticed was allowed to have that sort of authorial voice on television, and it worked. And I'll tell you so. The second time we're actually going to mention The Hitchhiker's Guide, but not because of Douglas Adams, but because of Dirk Maggs. So Dirk Maggs is one of those guys who I was a fan of before I knew who he was, because he is the guy who is the producer of the Hitchhiker's Guide radio play, and turns out 100 other things. So as a fan of audio drama and as a creator of audio drama, I had listened to a ton of his stuff, not knowing it was the same guy doing it after thing after thing after thing. That was so fantastic. And I finally realized the connection between all of these things was this. If you see him, he looks like a rock and roller. He's wild hair, and you would never think he's the guy quietly sitting and tweaking little knobs and buttons to try and get the right sound effect of a Vogon destructor fleet blowing up Earth. But that's who he was, and he still is, and he's still out there, still makes up. He is currently doing the Sandman Audible series.
Oh wow!
So
he's 170 years old.
Honestly, the Hitchhiker stuff came out in the early 80s, so he's been consistently working for that entire time. So yeah, he's still out there doing it. So he's one of those guys that I just go, I don't know how your brain works, but I'm trying to reverse engineer to be.
Did he do the Star Wars the series too?
No, he did not do those ones. No.
Okay.
Yeah, most of the stuff that came through the UK. But his, I can show you the list I found. Somebody made a wiki page of his stuff, and I was it was unbelievable how much stuff he's done. Another one, this is, I was talking about bittersweet. This is a little bittersweet because this one came up to mind because it's a person we recently lost. So there is a thing in, we'll say wider entertainment, because this does talk in the comic stuff too, where there's a skill that is extremely hard to define. So it's invisible, but it is also easily exploitable, and that is to be able to write like someone else. And so the person we recently lost is Peter David. So Peter David was a writer for Marvel Comics predominantly, but a ton of different comics, and also a ton of Star Trek novels, and and he wrote for Babylon 5. He wrote for all these different things, and he was just a regular guy, just a hardworking, just put in the time. He did 10 years writing Incredible Hulk. That's month after month after month for 10 years, and one of those huge runs that almost nobody, I don't think now in this day and age, will never match. His, all of Why the Last Man could fit inside of his Hulk run. It's just, you don't get that anymore. But he was just really good at understanding characters. The reason we have Miguel O'Hara from Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is because of Peter David. He created Spider-Man 2099. And of course, like most comic writers, died broke. That's the thing is, Marvel makes tons of money off of why is there a Smart Hulk in Avengers? Because of Peter David. Did he get money for that? Absolutely not. it's one of these things where he was doing amazing work that people still love and regard and they're still making money off of the trades. And he had health problems and it went downhill, and that was it. Like once they took anything out of him, it was done. So he was one of the guys that he was also incredibly funny, incredibly acerbic, did not suffer fools. I got a chance to meet him before he passed, and so I could barely sort of squeak out my admiration and stuff too. But he was nice enough to sign one of the books that he had written for me and stuff too. But it had a long tumultuous thing because he was very vocal about his issues and stuff too. So he has lots of published essays and things that you can go look up. But unfortunately, we just lost him this year. So, but stuff is still really good, still funny. That was one of the things he was really good at is finding the funny in stuff and consistently writing strong characters. So I always look at that as like you can do both, and he showed mine.
Yeah, he nailed Q whenever he wrote Q in the Star Trek novels. Did some brilliant things too. Like there was a one-off character in the original Star Trek series named Trelane, who was sort of like a trickster god a little bit, who Peter David in a book brought Trelane back and basically explained the reason he was able to do the things he did in the original series is because he's a Q. And so it was like a Q versus Q thing, and Enterprise is kind of caught in the middle. And I read that as a teenager, and I still remember it. It was really good.
Q squared, still out there, still there. Wow. And he was the first of all the Star Trek novelists. He was the first one allowed to create his own crew. Like we liked what you do so much, you can make your own group from anybody in all of Trek. And then he wrote like 15 novels of this brand new crew, and like no one else had ever been entrusted with that much. It was always like, no, you have to write Kirk, you have to write Picard. Like, no, like you can do your own person. So.
And he was willing to do some wacky stuff that worked. Yeah. Like, well, at the end, spoiler alert for a 25-year-old novel, but at the end of Q squared, it ends up being Picard in a literal sword fight with Trelane, who's a Q, who's an all-powerful being. And Picard ends up winning and running Trelane through with his sword, and Trelane dies, like for real. And it turns out the sword in Picard's hand was the other Q. So he stabbed a Q to death with a Q.
That is so gross and subversive.
And I remember it blew my mind as a teenager. Like, I can't believe he did that.
And then my last one is Jane Espenson. So Jane Espenson is one of those journeyman writers. If you have watched any sci-fi television show in the last 25 years, you have seen her work. Buffy, Warehouse 13, Battlestar Galactica. Like you just pull up her wiki page and it's unbelievable. Even this blew my mind. Pete and I have a particular affection for a failed television show called Andy Barker PI. And my favorite episode of it turns out was written by her.
Oh, no.
It was like unbelievable. So she's one of those people, and she always just wanted to work in television, and she just consistently over the years just put in the time, put in the work, and just always put character first, like interesting stuff. Like she is like, and still out there, still writing stuff. And when Twitter was Twitter, she did tons of inspirational stuff about getting people to write and helping. She would do these sprints where all of a sudden, like at the top of the hour, she'd be like, okay, top of the hour, we're gonna write for an hour, let's go. And I would like, let's do it. It was when it was still like a cool community to hang out in before it turned dark. But yeah, she's one of the great ones out there, a dame, and she's still out there doing amazing stuff. So
awesome.
That's my Mount Rushmore.
I miss Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah,
me too.
Ooh, fun fact. So the last few weeks I've gone back and I've been watching some old favorite Next Generation episodes, and I noticed an interesting common thread. I would say like 80% of my favorite episodes were written by Ron Moore.
Yeah.
And I thought that is very interesting too. And then he went on to write arguably one of the best sci-fi shows ever made.
Ever.
Yeah. Well, I would also say Deep Space Nine is one of the greatest shows ever made, and he was heavily involved in it.
He was there at the helm.
Yeah.
Great subject.
There we go.
This was great, Kyle.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, and I think maybe I don't know if it's yearly or whatever, but I think we can come back because like basically who I eliminated was like, oh man, I could spend an hour talking about each of these.
Yeah. Second tier Rushmore.
Yeah, I already regret that I didn't say Lin-Manuel Miranda on mine.
I could have had that too. I was just listening to The Heights again.
And I didn't even go into the whole thing of voice actors and voiceover people, because there are both voiceover artists and people like Andrea Romano, who's like the VO casting whisperer, and who just are amazing talents in their own right.
Yeah.
And all of you guys are on my Rushmore anyway.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, obviously, of course.
Abby.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pete's head is a little bit bigger on mine than anyone else's, but you're all on there.
Well, that's contractual, right?
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
for our
Finder's
friendship.
fee.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for doing that. I got to see a little bit more of each of your creative DNA, and that was very nice. So we have a new sponsor actually coming in today. So let's roll that ad and then take it home. Oh man, not again.
What's wrong, Steve?
I just found out my favorite author got arrested. He's been running a secret monkey fight club.
That's terrible. Those poor monkeys.
Sure, but what about me?
What about you?
I still want to enjoy his books, but now all I'll be thinking about are those monkeys. Guess I'll go roast him on social media.
You could do that, but what if there's another option? Have you considered Problematic?
Did you say problematic?
No, Problem-Attic. It's a smart app for your dumb brain. It's very simple. We go into your mind and create a space above your thoughts.
Like an attic?
Exactly. That's where we'll stuff in all your guilt and shame about being a fan, plus your memories of his crimes.
But will it all fit?
We found the human capacity for denying the truth is nearly infinite.
Are there any long-term effects?
It's so new we have no idea, but why not be a leader instead of a follower?
Sounds neat, but my guy's been convicted. What about all the people who got off scot-free? Can I forget their crimes too?
Of course. For that, you'll need Problematic Platinum.
Does it work?
It works so well, they sometimes get a whole musical made about them.
Cool. I can't wait to tell all my friends.
No, you must never tell. Okay, stuff them inside, lock the door, throw away the key, and never speak of it to anyone.
Okay.
Problematic. Why lie to your friends when you can lie to yourself? Another fine product from your friends at Psycho. Your brain is our domain.
Oh my God.
Special shout out to friend of the show, Mandy Kaplan.
Mandy Kaplan. What a voice. What a talent.
For the win.
But Kyle, yours was great too.
Yeah. Well, next to her, it wasn't that great, but but I knew that I could keep myself accountable to it, and I could direct myself. So
I hope you guys make so much money off of that ad.
This is such a brilliant idea. Is seed funding secured? Wow.
I know they told me they paid me, but I don't have any records of it. But I'm sure. I'm sure
it might be under another name. Yeah,
it could be. Maybe that's the problem. From your friends at Psycho.
So good.
So, all right. So, as we're releasing you back out into the cruel wide world, we wanted to also leave you with a little bit of things that we have been particularly enjoying. So, I asked people to come around and find something that they have been watching, listening to, reading recently that has given some inspiration. So we'll go in the same order that we did for the talk. So let's start with Ryan Dalton. What do you got to recommend to the good people?
Yeah, I'll re-shout out what I said a minute ago. I've been using some precious free time to watch some old Star Trek episodes. Nice. And yeah, just not going in any particular order. I just see one that that used to be one of my favorites and pop that on, and yeah, it's just these little pops of joy, and that show still holds up this many years later. And if whether you're a longtime fan or you've never watched it before, it's a good time.
I think that's the way to do it, because I'm trying to watch all of one particular series in order, and it's rough going. So like lily padding it is probably the way to go. Mm-hmm. So. Misty, what have you got?
I have really been enjoying Dying for Sex on Hulu. I loved the pod. It's based on a podcast and based on a real woman's life. And I listened to the podcast 5 years ago, and oh my God, Michelle Williams and Jenny Slate in particular are so good in this show. Jenny Slate is unhinged in the best way. It's only about 8 episodes. They're 30 minutes each, and it is a real fantastic binge watch. And each night I am also very slowly savoring Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yaros, the third in the Dragon Smut Fourth Wing series. Pete's laughing because I was on a podcast episode of Make Me a Nerd, also on True Story FM, all about Fourth Wing, which is a fantastic romantasy book. So yeah, it's that
You
Dying
gotta
for
love that
Sex
Dragon
and
Smut.
Onyx Storm. I do, Pete. I really do.
Shout it to the heavens. Pete, what do you got?
I got a show that hits me in just the right tickle spots. It's called Adults. It is on Hulu or Disney Plus. It is one of my new favorite shows. And the saddest part is that it is only 8 episodes. Like they're doing, it's like it is Friends with millennials. And it makes me so happy because they know how to write the most awkward situations possible. And I learn something new about my own kids every single time I watch an episode. It is delightful. It's very bawdy, and it is just perfect. Adults on Hulu.
Very nice. This is by no means a hot take, but this is one of those that's bittersweet in that there is a show on Netflix called The Residence. It is a cozy murder mystery about a murder in the White House. It's 10 episodes, and we just recently learned it will only ever be 10 episodes because it was canceled. So
classic Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. So we're old. But that means that we have this. So we have to, be happy that it happened.
Do they wrap up the mystery though?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So then I say, so the next thing is like, so for anybody who hasn't seen it, it is 10 episodes. Like it tells the entire story. It has a satisfying ending, but it's never one of those things where you're like, Who Killed Laura Palmer, of like, get on with it. Each episode it like dives deep into these characters' lives and how they're all intertwined and shows you more. And each of them is almost like a mini movie in a different style, but it all sort of works together in a brilliant way. So we just think of it now as a piece. You don't have to worry about, putting that much time. You don't have to worry about when's the next season. This is what we got. We should just enjoy that we have it. So highly recommend.
Awesome.
All right, so hopefully between the people that we talked about and the shows that we recommend and things, you found some sort of joy, even just in being here. So thank you all for coming along. Thank you all for sharing your stories with us. And thank you all out there listening to us. This has been Crafted Chaos. Go make weird art.